name is Joel Patterson, and this is my case study for Mod 16 on Internet use violations, threats over the World Wide Web for EDL 850, school law. So here we go. Problem identification and analysis for category 1. What do we know? So far we know that Ms. Tate is a second-year science teacher at the prestigious Slattery Steno High School. She's well educated and very dedicated to her profession. She teaches with great rigor, structure, and a serious approach to her instructional delivery, which leads to high levels of student stress. This high school is located in an affluent part of the city with well-to-do families, lots of parents working in professional jobs. The principal at the school, Dr. Smith, is very well established and respected by all. Dr. Smith has discussed new techniques with Ms. Tate to reduce student stress. She's been unsuccessful in implementing them. After a 3-day weekend, Ms. Tate came home to check her email and discovered a message with a link to a Facebook page that was set up criticizing her teaching style with some rude comments about her, and then specifically a comment asking who wants Ms. Tate to disappear. Once she reads this, Ms. Tate contacts Dr. Smith to share that information with him, and he has kind of put her at ease a little bit for the moment, printed off some copies of the page and told her that they would meet further on the issue in the morning and pull in students for questioning if they needed it. So what do we need to know? So I have 3 highlighted here. The first one at the top is what strategies have been discussed with Ms. Tate to increase positive interactions? Why have they been unsuccessful in the past? Was there any follow-up on the implementation of them? If the principal has given her these strategies to use, it should be expected that she could at least attempt to implement them. What type of relationships does Ms. Tate have with the families in her class? We know that the parents have contacted Dr. Smith, but have they contacted her first, or are they going straight over her head? Are the lines of communication open with students and families? Or is there any communication? There's a problem here somewhere with communication if there are students that are acting out in this way and parents that are jumping over her to go straight to the principal. The last thing that we need to know here is what was the real intent of the website? Was it created at home? Was it created at school? If it was at school, it could be a part of our acceptable use policy, or in breach of it, rather. After questioning, was it still believed to be a prank? Dr. Smith thought it was. Mrs. Tate thought it was a lot more serious than that. And then what are the underlying reasons a website such as this might be created? So what was going on in the classroom that led the students to this action? Did I get everything? Oh, here we go. So what is the problem? Ms. Tate has created a poor learning environment for her students. Students have high levels of stress. Parents are complaining of the workload and the poor instructional strategies. And Ms. Tate has been unable to implement suggested teaching techniques. Another problem is Ms. Tate feels attacked and unsafe. Students have created a Facebook page slandering her and wishing her to disappear. And then parents are going over her to complain to Dr. Smith about her. Lastly, we kind of have a big overarching problem of digital citizenship, student behavior. Classes generated intense competition, stress levels, which has led to some negative student behaviors. We could have a breach of policy in acceptable use on computers and internet if it was done at school. And then we also have the possibly cyberbullying, anti-bullying issue as well. We also have a lack of relationships in the classroom that have led to this. Okay, so the plan of attack, or plan of action rather, with appropriate strategies for implementation. This is category 2. The plan of action includes 3 steps designed to resolve the problem, and then 3 strategies for each step. So I've highlighted those here. Step one would be to investigate the intent of the threat. We would contact district HR, superintendent, ensure that proper steps are taken and that the alleged threat is known. Along with all of that, you would also be contacting parents and kind of getting them aware of the situation as well. We would work with district technology staff to identify if the website was created on or off campus, and then if those policies were violated. We would also pull in students for questioning and additional information, and this is where we would also notify the parents, letting them know of the situation, but not really naming names in it yet. Okay, step two would be to reassure Ms. Tate of her safety. We would sit down with Ms. Tate, process through her thoughts and about why this may be happening, what actions could have led to this situation, and how can we move past it. Reassure her that her safety is not in question, that we are working with all parties to resolve the issue. Communicating with families about that threat, revisiting digital citizenship in the classroom, as well as acceptable use policy, and the consequences for violation of that. The last step is initiating an improvement plan for Ms. Tate. So under this step, the strategies that I have listed are give specific strategies and techniques to begin using and then follow up on them. Sounds like Dr. Smith had given her strategies and techniques to use, but there may not have been a lot of follow through on that. We would also find time for Ms. Tate to observe other classrooms so she could see effective techniques that are being used within our building, and then just supporting Ms. Tate in creating a more open line of communication with her students and families so that she can foster a more positive relationship building in her classroom. Okay, resolving issues based on promoting the success of all students. This is category 3. I'll move my picture over here. By resolving this issue, we are promoting the academic success and personal well-being of every student. 3 bullet points here. First one is by initiating an improvement plan for Ms. Tate. Strategies and techniques used within her class can be more effective and allow our students to learn at a higher level. I think having an improvement plan can increase the accountability since previous techniques were given to her in discussions but not executed. By addressing cyberbullying, digital citizenship, and the consequences of acceptable use policy, students become more aware of their actions online. Coming from an affluent community, students need to know that what they say and do on the internet can follow them and impact their futures. And then lastly, by involving all parties in the problem-solving process, everyone has a voice and can be heard and respected, and no one will feel attacked or cornered on the matter. Ms. Tate needs reassuring of her safety, but students also need a shift in class culture to perform their best. Okay, debriefing the problem. This is category 4. What were you thinking, feeling, and valuing? What was I thinking? I have 3 points here. Why had the improvement plan not been discussed yet with Ms. Tate? It was clear that there was definitely a need for it. If more effective strategies and techniques had been discussed with Ms. Tate, why were they not implemented? What events have taken place to lead to this type of behavior by Ms. Tate's students? What was I feeling? Sadness for Ms. Tate. She's a well-educated teacher, but if there's that much of a disconnect between her and her students, there's probably a lack of joy in teaching and helping kids. If she really doesn't understand that she's not building any relationships with them. Dr. Smith seems to be doing a really good job of mediating the problem. When Ms. Tate called him, he was very reassuring towards her, made sure that she was okay with putting it off till the next morning when he could kind of get the information and pull in other students to question. And then also gathering help from other departments like the technology department. And then also feeling that the students lack awareness of the implications of their cyberbullying and what they're saying and doing online. What was I valuing? I thought Dr. Smith's demeanor and tone with Ms. Tate was great. He acknowledged the problem and reassured her that it would be something that they would address and not just kind of putting it off to the side. Having time and resources to become a better teacher. I know with our school, we have mentor teachers, opportunities in professional development to learn new strategies and techniques, and actually practice those techniques and not just hearing it in a discussion. And then also just having time to observe other teachers in other classrooms and seeing what's done, and what you can pull into your rooms. And then really just the influence that relationships and having a positive class environment can have. This class seems to be kind of spiraling out of control, and I think it all comes back to just really not having those relationships with the students. Debriefing the problem, identifying issues that are unresolved or open for further investigation. Number one, I said, what was the intent of the threat? Was it a prank like Dr. Smith had believed, or do they need to pull in extra help from law enforcement if it is an actual death threat? What are the consequences for the student if it is William Hall, or if it's another student? The next one, can Miss Tate adjust her teaching style? With an improvement plan in place, we can improve, or can we improve the effectiveness of Miss Tate's teaching? And then will students notice the change and begin to open up and actually take some steps in building those relationships with her? The third one is, how can we improve the class environment right now? This is a problem. We still have however long is left in this school year. I guess they never told us, but we do have time left in this class. So we need to be able to change the environment in the short term and the long term. So we need to teach and reteach digital citizenship, maybe pull in our technology teachers for that as well. Have a class meeting discussing some changes. This would be Ms. Tate leading this discussion. Really just kind of owning up to some mistakes that she's made that have maybe led to some of these problems. Kind of taking that first step of building back some buy-in from her class. And then really just putting the past in the past and moving on. I think everybody can accept people making a mistake if you just own up to it and kind of move on and make change. Okay, reflecting on standard 5, professional ethics. An education leader at the building level applies knowledge and promotes the success of every student by acting with integrity, fairness, and in an ethical manner. How did you, the educational leader at the building level, apply knowledge that promotes the success of every student by acting with integrity? So on this one, I said, acknowledging that there was a problem at hand and we're working with all parties to resolve it in a calm and collected manner. Realizing that Ms. Tate needs further support in her instructional technique in order to reach her students. And lastly, communicating the issue with families so there can be follow-up discussions at home as well about digital citizenship and cyberbullying. Okay, I'll skip down to this part. How did you, the educational leader at the building level, apply knowledge that promotes the success of every student by acting with fairness? On this one, I said questioning students was to gather information, not attack them with your mind already made up. It's pretty important if you're trying to gather information. Communicating the issue with parents, names were withheld. We need to learn from this, not place blame on people. And then Ms. Tate's going to get the support and guidance that she needs to be a more effective teacher, which will positively impact the students in her class and the instruction that they receive. How did you, the education leader at the building level, apply knowledge that promotes the success of every student by acting in an ethical manner? On this, I said Ms. Tate could relax knowing Dr. Smith validated her concern and was working to solve the problem. If, in fact, the acceptable use policy or anti-bullying policy had been violated, consequences are already laid out and applied to anyone who violates them. And then the last one, Dr. Smith has continued to support Ms. Tate through everything. Having this support can allow her to begin making some changes to her teaching style without fear. And that concludes my presentation. So thank you for watching.